young Renzel, you know, the eBay Motors Dawn, or I don't know what's a better word than Dawn. What is it? Come on, the Teflon Dawn of eBay Motors. What's a synonym for king or something? Ruler, monarch, crowned head, majesty, head of state, emperor. Yeah, the eBay Motors Emperor. Where is it? He just buys so many freaking vehicles. He's hilarious with his wheels. He loves wheels. Okay, we've seen him in wheelchairs. We've seen him on this little mini bike. We've seen how many Bel Air or Chevrolet Bel Airs does he have? I think he's trying to buy every single one in existence. He's just got so many vehicles. How many Rolls Royces does the guy have? Nobody's coming. There's not one person at Maybach that's ever like switched on him. Like, you know, some of them turn on the webcam, like a gunplay. Like you would expect gunplay, but he hasn't. But nobody's ever. See, that's something I would do. If Renzel would have let me in, I would have been turning on the Instagram. I would have been, yo, look at this garage. He has like 20 Lamborghinis. Why the hell does he even have 20 in here? It's like, but he's never had anybody like that except me. But he never lets me get it. I'm always this far away from him. That's just as close as I've gotten to Rose is about that far away from him. Other than one time he pulled up to me on Dundas and King Street or something like that, or whatever, near King Street or whatever the intersecting road or whatever to go through King and all that is on one. Pulled up and I hear some metal like of a slide. I'm like, whoa. So I pull my knife immediately. I don't know who it was. Next thing I know, I see a Rolls Royce and there's Rose, but I already got my knife pulled and Gunplay's shaking. Gunplay pulled the hammer and like with the slide and whatnot, cock back the slide and whatnot. Ran London right down the street from that London music hall, actually. Yeah, so I hear a slide get cocked. So I immediately pull my knife. Right? Anyways, Rose didn't get too hurt. Gunplay didn't get touched at all. But then there was another time they came and see me also around the same neighborhood. I'm sitting on the church steps. And I just got the new iPhone XR on my credit, which meant a lot to me because I had good credit for so long. It meant a lot to me or whatnot. So I'm on the iPhone XR. I should be filming myself or whatever, but I'm just getting familiar. Maybe I was looking at Apple Music, and then I looked at sort of like, damn, I held like, you know, you're holding an iPhone XR like those celebrities hold them. Next thing I know, some black hand with tattoos hits my phone onto the ground. It goes, and it hits the ground and whatnot. And that is when it was. I looked and it was Rick Ross with Gunplay right there in London, Ontario, right near that, because they want to protect their little area because they want to take everything over altogether. Whatnot. So anyway, Gunplay's behind me with a revolver, but he doesn't shoot me in the back of the head or nothing, but he was sort of aiming it at the back of my head and whatnot. Oh, and it wasn't King Street tomorrow, it was King Street, London. So Rose thought he was slick, and he starts walking. He thought I was a straight bitch. He's like, so this is the guy that is connected with me on the internet that everyone's... something like that. He said something about like, so this is the guy that's supposed to be fucking with me on the internet or something like that. Messing with me. It's the guy that's supposed to be connected with me on the internet. But, yo, he was having anxiety because he should have been home or something. And I stuck my leg out like middle school, an old middle school trick. Rosie, I swear, Rick Ross. And the way I looked so dumbfounded tricked the Rose, I swear. And I lifted my leg up until the point he thought like he was accidentally tripping over my leg. But he tried lifting his leg up over mine. But the more he lifted his leg up over mine, I was lifting my leg up higher so he would trip. But I was looking like I was retarded on purpose. So he's looking at my face and he didn't even know. And by the time then he tripped and whoa, he fell right on his kneecap. And the Maybach was quite a distance, I swear. Next to this church in London on right by the pizza shop, and there's another little restaurant across from there, and a Mexican tortilla or Mexican, whatever those sandwiches are called. Whatever the hell those sandwiches are called. So he falls. Gunplay is like, wow. So Gunplay is like sort of laughing inside, I think, and he helped Rose up. And they stumbled and ran towards that Maybach, and they drove away. And that's what happened in London when Rick Ross came to see me. It never has worked out. Every time that we've met, he's came seen me in the Brampton movie theater, and he knocked the camera to the ground that day. And he had the stained shirt, which I had the idea for was it'd be funny if you looked like me, a kid behind a camera with cat hair and stains and all that. So he was like, okay, he was fucking with it. He was like, he was going to be like this really nice guy and come down and bring me and kid behind a camera with him. But he should have had his own red cameras and all that too. You know, he could have been that guy. He's got all these cameras. He's that rich. You know, he had all this stuff happen with Jennifer in Windsor. He had all this stuff happen at the movie theater. He comes and sees me on the beach in Port Al. It's like, come on, man. You know me, a kid behind the camera. I know Rick Ross is and whatever. To a certain degree. And me and kid behind the camera, anyway, I do. Maybe kid behind the camera would get you, but he hasn't got you yet. I don't see Rick Ross on kid behind the camera yet. But we are fans, and there's times when Rick Ross looks like kid behind the camera. Because Rick Ross is a big fan of kid behind the camera and Angry Grandpa. He's a big internet guy, I've so learned. He's even on hack forums. You can even find him on hack forums every once in a while. Yeah. And he's taught me a better way to move. Well, he's one of the reasons why I'm so successful. He's been one of my fathers. He's like one of my
struggling with heavy debts in Canada.
Main fathers. Where anytime I look to move, or after I've made a move through my life, I always brag to him, or I ask him what I should do, or I think, it's kind of like what would Jesus do, but what would Rose do? WWJD was a big thing or whatever, and still is. You know, it's like, what would Jesus do? But I always said, like, what would Rose do? What would Rick Ross do? But I got older and I tended not to say even that one, but I still do, even though I still always ask, what would Rick Ross do? Less and less as I get older. But it started with, what would Jesus do? And I still ask, what would Jesus do? But a lot of time, honestly, it's what would Rick Ross do? Because in this human world that we live in, Rick Ross happens to be, well, the ways of Rick Ross have shown that he's became wealthy, and it's something that I desire. You know, when you're suffering in great poverty, you desire to be wealthy. So that is why I draw so much energy from Rose and Rick Ross, because I want to be him. I want to be as successful as him. I don't want to be him, but I want to mirror sort of or emulate his work ethic, because look at how rewarding it was. Lazarus is raised from the dead. Heard that name before, in music and everything too. Lazarus. And that's all a way to draw you closer to the main supper, which for some is the ultimate last supper. I guess it will be for me when I finally sit down to hear the true stories of, well, what all these short stories talk about. It's the long story. It's the book, the great book. The Bible.